Now, using credit is like taking advantage of someone else's money, and why wouldn't you want to do that? Credit is probably one of the most misunderstood financial tools. People don't know what it is, how to use it, the advantages, or the downsides. And credit is you, the borrower, taking someone else's money to be utilized to pay back another day. And this comes with different situations, like how long you could borrow it for, how much you could borrow it for, or even the interest that you have to pay back. Because you can't borrow money for free, except in some cases you actually can, but I'll talk about that later in the video. Now, credit is mainly understood in the finance world as your credit score. And while there are different ways that different credit bureaus or different organizations follow what your credit score is, for this case, we'll be using your FICO score, which is a common standard that many lenders use. And this score is a simple way for financial lenders to identify what your credit worthy is, because no one wants to pay back someone that doesn't give them back their money. So if you have a high score, lenders don't mind giving you money, but if you have a low score, there's either two options for you. The first is that you're either not approved, or the second, which is probably worse, you get details for a loan that's so bad that honestly you shouldn't even take the loan. Like a payday lender, which is effectively a deal with the devil. And there are ways for you to either increase or maximize your credit scores, but this is an overall surface level video. If you want me to talk about that, let me know down in the comments and I can make a video detailing how you can increase your credit score. But there are multiple ways and forms of what credit is. There's credit cards, student loans, auto loans, and even mortgages. And a common way that these are used is using a credit card and paying it off each month, using an auto loan and just making the monthly payments to buy off a truck or a car, and the most common way to buy a house is a 30-year mortgage. All of these things are methods or just different ways of saying that you're going to be using someone else's money for your purchases. So the more you look around and understand finances, the more you actually understand how much credit is used in the day-to-day. And it's likely that the people that struggle the most with understanding credit or even taking advantage of it are those at the financial bottom. But the people taking full advantage of other people's money are those at the top. But there are ways to take advantage of your credit even at your micro level. And one of the best forms of using credit for your advantage is using a credit card. Credit cards are just accounts, just like a checking or a savings that you have with a bank, but instead of this is where you put money into, this is where you're borrowing it from the lender. With this, we'll get a credit balance of how much we could take from the lender and interest rates on what we have to pay back. But there's a secret with credit cards. If you pay back the balance before the statement's due, you don't pay any interest. And using a credit card comes with many benefits, reward points, and even cash back. There are even cards that come with memberships and insurance, like extended warranties and purchase protections. And you can get all of these benefits and rewards for something that you were effectively going to buy anyways. Like for buying groceries or gas, you can get up to a 5% cash back on many of these credit cards, and these are mandatory expenses that you're effectively going to buy anyways. But one of the best things about credit card is the overall layer of protection that you get from things like card theft. I've had my card information stolen twice, one with a debit card and one with a credit card. The process for my debit card was an absolute nightmare. My bank account was frozen for a few days, and the bank took forever to return my money. But for the credit card, the bank effectively reimbursed my charges and had a new card in the mail almost immediately, because the bank cares more when its money's on the line versus yours. Now, this doesn't mean that there's no downsides to credit. What you have to do is effectively treat this like a double-edged sword, understanding the risks. And on top of that, late payments can decrease your credit score, affecting your credit worthiness down the line. And don't get me started about the consumerism temptations that people have when they have credit cards. See, we have this weird thing that when we're given a card with a $10,000 balance, we just want to spend it just because we have the available means. We trick ourselves into buying things either because they're on clearance or on sale, or trying to say that the reward points will help us, but at the end of the day, we never needed it, we just found a reason to buy it. But this doesn't mean to stay away from credit altogether. Effectively, what you have to do is find a healthy medium between using it and paying it off. But there are plenty of ways of not falling down that hole, but before I get into those, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed the content, and let me know what future videos you want down in the comments. Now, there are some ways that you can honestly prevent any future issues with a credit card, and the main one is actually paying it off each month. And even though this sounds simple, paying it off each month ensures that you never have to pay interest on it. And the second part of this comes in making sure that you keep a budget to pay off your credit cards. You should use credit cards for things that you're going to buy anyways, your needed expenses. Don't slip into a way of buying things that you wanted even though you can't afford them. And now the main takeaway is pretty simple. Why use your money when you could use someone else's money with main benefits, as long as you're strong enough and responsible enough to be smart about it?